what you're thinking. We sound like nerds.
Welcome back to We Sound Like Nerds, official podcast of the Losers Club.
Wait, so you're going to cut out everything we just talked about? I thought
Maybe
that was
not.
good banter.
We'll use some of it.
Did they have the Losers Club in this one?
Yeah, that's what it's called, the Losers Club.
Well, I'm pretty sure they had it in the original one too, right?
Yes. All right, let's talk about it, guys. Neither of you saw it because reasons.
Because I'm a fraidy cat.
And I just didn't see it.
Yeah, you should.
I should. I might.
Both of you should.
No. You couldn't get me to go to that for $500,000.
And it's funny when
It'd take at least $1 million.
When I first saw it in theaters, this new one, 2017.
I'm going to say back in 1983 or whatever year it was.
Yeah, the miniseries came out in 1990.
Wasn't it made for TV?
Yeah, on ABC. That's why it's not scary.
I don't think ABC would play something like that now.
No. So anyways, it 2017. Just immediate reactions. This was one of the least scary movies I've ever been to.
Seriously?
Yeah, it's really not that scary.
Well, I've heard there's not like a lot of jump scare, but it's like kind of a psychological scare.
It's supposed to, drag it out, and you're supposed to get this feeling of terror and dread, like, forced on you. The problem is we saw it the opening weekend. I think I saw it on Saturday or Sunday.
So you watched it with 250 other people?
Yeah, watched it with a full theater, and so many people were doing the protective whispering among each other, so they would
breaking the entire reason you're there.
Yeah, so shut up, just let the thing come out of the water and scare the kid. But still great, probably one of the best adaptations of Stephen King material to cinemas. So it was directed by Andy Muschietti, starring Bill Skarsgård, Finn Wolfhard from Stranger Things, Jaden Lieberherber.
I think you had an extra her in there.
Maybe.
The first time.
Lieberher.
Yeah.
LeBieber. Casting was actually really well done for the kids and stuff, I think. So yeah, Bill Skarsgård, his dad is the big Skarsgård, and then his older brother is the other Skarsgård. They all have the same last name.
I was gonna say that's usually how it works.
Yeah, is that how families work?
Yeah. I don't know. Well, the Sheens are weird.
Oh yeah.
Sheens and Estevez.
Yeah.
Estevez's. So it began production way back in 2009.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Because I think even when we worked together, we talked about how there was an It movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Holy crap.
It took a long time to get made. And it was originally going to be directed by Gary Fukunaga from True Detective.
Season 1 and 2. Oh, I didn't care for season 2.
So what took so long for it to be made?
The script went through a couple reworks. They lost the director because he wasn't able to do what he wanted to do with the story. He wanted to make it more of a psychological, looser adaptation, I think, than what they originally went with. And originally, there was one script in the works that was the whole book, so it was both the kids and the adults. Because this movie actually just handles half of the book.
It just does the kids? Oh, okay.
Well, yeah, they got to split into a couple movies to make the most money.
Yeah.
They're not going to...
Is that really the plan? They're going to do it a sequel?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll be right back.
Cool.
I need water. Jordan, anything?
What do you get?
Got water.
I could take some water or Gatorade or whatever.
You got Hawaiian Punch on?
I'm going to say you got Hawaiian Punch.
I don't have any Hawaiian Punch. What's the orange mixed drink?
Orange drink? Tang.
I know what you're talking about. Tang.
Got some Tang? Got a Tab?
I'm always reminded of the Dave Chappelle skit where they do that. They open the thing. They're like, we got Sonic 2, we got this stuff. He's like, you know that bike is just going, I want that purple stuff.
All right.
Okay, I had a good point that I was going to ask you, and you cut us off.
So we were talking about the sequels. Yep. Talking about how this
before that, we were
just
talking
focused
about
on the young
how
kids.
it didn't get made because
creative oversight.
Creative differences. So they lose their director for a while.
So this movie doesn't follow the exact same story as the one back in 1990.
No.
They didn't just remake it the exact same.
No, so it's not a remake of the miniseries. It's a adaptation from the book, the source novel, It by Stephen King, which came out in the 80s.
So did the first one follow the book very well?
Yeah, it was a pretty faithful adaptation.
But this one somehow found a way to make it different?
Well, better, because they could go with an R rating and... you can do more today than you could back in 1990.
Yeah.
And get away with more stuff. And yeah, we'll get into that with my likes, dislikes, and that sort of thing. My wishes.
Improvements for the sequel.
Yeah.
So now to start it out, is it in the past or is it like kids in a current day?
So they moved it up. They moved it to the 1980s.
Okay.
The book takes place in the 50s.
Oh, okay.
And the 80s when they're adults.
Yeah.
So with a potential sequel coming out now, placing it in the 80s, they can do a current 2017 for the sequel.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, after, I don't know if it was before Fukunaga came on, but the Duffer Brothers approached the studio and said, hey, we'd like to direct it. And they said, no, you guys don't have enough experience. They went on to make Stranger Things, which is basically it. And, a bunch of other 80s sci-fi and horror tropes that made that series.
That's awesome.
So that's pretty cool. I mean, kind of good thing they were turned down because
that's the thing. Yeah,
we got a really good show out of it.
Yeah, maybe they took that. They were like, oh, hey, well, we already had all these really cool 80s things that we were going to want to do for it.
Right.
So let's just make something new out of it.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool. So yeah, they place it in the 80s and they make it, it's a pretty solid comedy. There's so many laughs in this movie that were, not hard to come by. The way the kids talk to each other. Finn Wolfhard as Richie. I just absolutely love that casting choice. He's getting a little typecast into playing the same role because he plays a similar, he's like the group leader in Stranger Things. Mm-hmm. In this, he's more the comedic relief. But so yeah, let's likes, dislikes, that sort of thing. You guys didn't see it, so I don't know why I'm...
This is all on you, man. We're just the color commentators.
So things I liked about the adaptation, Bill, Richie, Eddie, Beverly, and Pennywise. Basically, those kids, and then Bill Skarsgård's representation of Pennywise were probably the best things. You get a little bit lost in the adaptation because of your runtime. But like Stanley Uris, who's this Jewish kid in the Losers Club, he gets, I think, way too much time to develop, where we actually don't see anything about Richie. And like his backstory, he's just part of the Losers Club, which is a change from the books. I mean, obviously every character basically is to be scared by it, and they had to cut some of that out just for runtime. But I thought they focused on Stanley way too much. Mike, who's the black kid in the group, with it taking place in the 50s, there's a lot more racially drived like fear for him. And they introduce him in one of the first scenes of the movie, but then they don't meet back up with him until like halfway through. And so it's like, well, yeah, I guess he's in the Losers Club too. So, and then they made Ben I thought it wasn't the best casting choice because he looks maybe like 3 years younger than everybody else. He's the fat kid that's in the trailers.
Okay.
So he gets bullied a lot in the book because he moves to town and he's a fat kid. And so they, he gets tortured a lot. But they actually gave his researching of dairy. That was Mike's role in the book and the adaptation in the 90s. And then this one, they give it to Ben, which kind of makes sense. But again, in the end, it doesn't really matter who does the research on dairy because in the book, we find out that it has been around dairy for generations and generations, and every 27 years it comes out of its hole and it starts terrorizing people and eating them.
Derry's the town, right?
Derry's the town.
Oh, I was completely confused.
Yeah.
At first I was like, well, why were they researching milk?
That's what I thought you were talking about milk and
Yeah.
Lactose intolerant.
cheese.
Dairy, Maine,
It obviously is lactose intolerant.
probably. So Dairy, Maine is the location of dozens of Stephen King stories.
Oh, yes. He seems to like the East Coast.
Well, he's also from the area.
Yeah.
So you're
Well,
right.
I mean, like, when you're out there, like, when there's just, the only thing around for 50 miles is like 3 moose and some geese and stuff like that. You can really freak yourself out.
It's a lot like northern Minnesota, where I'm from.
Yeah.
Except for
Parts of
there's
South Dakota,
bears and
obviously.
wolves up there.
Yeah. Not so many like hilly terrains, but yeah,
Yeah.
pretty close.
So anyways, they researched dairy. I'm just going to take an aside here. This is going to be a spoiler review of it. If you haven't seen it, what are you waiting for? Go see it. It's amazing. It's pretty good. Yeah. I mean, you might like it. You might not. Can't make any guarantees here.
You jumped like a big percentage right there. You like it. You go see it. Meh.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah, and then it's not all that scary.
I think you're just trying to trick me into seeing.
No, I mean, it's really not. I'll tell you guys the first scene with George Denborough. It's Bill's little brother. You've seen it in the trailer. He's the little kid in the raincoat.
Following the little
See the one that
boat.
goes missing or whatever.
Yeah. So in the book and in the 1990s version, his body's found next to that water grate where the storm drain is. In this one, it's unknown what happened to Georgie.
Oh, really?
So it kind of adds a more like personal quest for Bill because he's trying to find his brother. They don't know what happened to him. So he's just missing instead of having him already be dead. So it kind of drives the character in a better way, I guess.
Yeah, I feel like that would work better.
Yeah, where he's going down into the sewers to look for his brother. And in the book, it's been a while since I've read the book, they were just trying to like dam up this place that they go called the Barrens. It's basically where all the storm drains run off. And it makes these woods that they play in or whatever. And they escape from their bullies down there. And so, yeah, it gives more importance to trying to search for Georgie. But aside from that opening scene, there's not really any gore in the movie or like violence towards kids, which in the book it gets really twisted.
Is it gory? The first scene with Georgie?
Yeah. So I'm like, oh, okay, this is what I have to prepare myself for.
Oh.
This is, and it stays on. See, you haven't read the book or seen the miniseries?
No, I saw the miniseries. It's been a long time.
Okay.
But
I mean, he dies or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So I'll probably cut this for our episode. Maybe I will. I don't know. So Pennywise eats people. So he bites Georgie's arm off.
Oh.
And so he's like, he's got a stump. So he's crawling back into the road.
In the book, the second?
No, in the movie.
Oh, no shit.
And the kid's probably like 7.
Oh, holy shit.
And so he's crawling and there's like blood coming out of him and he's like crawling, like screaming, help me, help me. And they hold on it until he gets dragged into the sewer by Pennywise. But I'm like, oh my, whoa, okay, this is definitely a hard R.
Holy shit.
And And the rest of the movie, I'm waiting for like more. I'm like, yes, all right, Brandon, ready for some blood, and
who's gonna get bitten in half?
You know, what kid's gonna get it next? And it never goes that far. Patrick Hochsttter is one of the bullies in the movie, and in the book, he had this tendency. He's a really messed up kid. He'd put animals in. His dad, I think, ran a junkyard, or there was a junkyard near the Barrens that a lot of the book characters go through it a lot. So he would take animals and put them in fridges. And then like come back every day and like see how like worn out and like sickly they were getting.
Oh, jeez.
And so he gets killed by it, like waiting in one of the fridges. And it like comes out and like grabs him and stuff.
Crazy.
In this one, he just gets killed by zombies, but we don't really.
Zombies?
Yeah, because it's the 80s. So kids in the book, it was the 50s. So it was like classic movie monsters, like the Mummy, Frankenstein's monster, Creature from the Black Lagoon. Kids in the 80s wouldn't be scared of that stuff. So they, you know, kind of switched it around. But yeah, I wanted more scares because the CGI is pretty bad in this movie.
And some of the trailers, I was like,
which was unfortunate because Bill Skarsgård does such a good Pennywise. He's very threatening when they're not using any CGI. But then there's scenes where like his mouth opens and like rows and rows of teeth show up, and it's like, God, I know that's fake. Like, couldn't you have done like a prosthetic or something? And you know,
old school is good sometimes.
And they don't. And so then I become less afraid of what I'm seeing because I know it's not actually there. Yeah. And like CGI, the paper boat is CGI. And like, you can tell.
Really?
It's really noticeable that this boat's going down the little stream. It's like, it's not there.
How tough is it to make a paper boat and float it down a curb?
Well, I could understand you're dealing with child actors and with something kind of random, you know, a paper boat. How many takes are you going to have to take, and how many hours can you have the kid working, you know, chasing the boat? I understand CGI probably makes it easier, but it didn't look good.
I was going to say, it seemed to work in the 90s.
So at the end of the movie, they decide we got to kill it because a character is put in peril, one of the Losers Club. And so they decided that they need to go rescue the character down in the storm drains. And aside from Mike bringing a little cattle gun that kills sheep, I guess it's not a cattle gun, it's a sheep gun. But it's one of those, like, the thing that he uses in No Country for Old Men.
Pneumatic?
Yeah, it's like a pneumatic drill thing. They don't bring any other weapons with them down into the storm drain. And like in the book and in the miniseries, they like armed themselves.
Yeah, like I thought they had stuff, yeah.
And they go down and they have this battle with it. And it just kind of leaves. Like he just kind of, there's another drain inside this like area that he's made as his base. And he just kind of leaves after he gets like stabbed with stuff. What? Why?
Because in the first one they had the slingshot with, it's silver?
Silver. Yeah, they make silver bullets. Eddie brings his inhaler. Yeah. And he says it's battery acid.
Yeah.
And so it's just, I don't know. It's kind of weird. And then like the parents in the book and in the miniseries, you could tell something was like messed up with them because they can't see times when like it is definitely happening.
Oh, okay, I got you. Like he's only revealing himself to the kids.
Yeah, and like Richie has a really good joke in this movie. He's like, "Do you have to be a virgin to see this stuff? Because I haven't seen shit." I'm like, oh my god, Richie, that's hilarious. And they don't really get into that at all. Like why the parents and the town feel so evil because Pennywise has literally like seeped into
the fabric of
the town.
Yeah.
We don't really get much of that, which again, understandable for time and stuff, but
But doesn't that create an issue for whenever they do the sequel then? Because then the kids are going to be adults.
Yep.
So how do they explain that they can see it as adults, but the adults in the 80s couldn't see it?
So because they all leave except for one character in the book. Mike stays behind and he becomes the historian of Derry, which now I wonder if Ben will stay.
Oh, since they kind of traded the roles on that?
Yeah. And then some other people were talking about Bill might stay, and it's like, well, why the hell would Bill stay? Like, he finds that his brother died.
I was going to say that was like the whole reason he left, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, so don't know what's going to happen with the sequel, basically. Because the small changes that they make in the storyline end up being bigger changes, obviously, when you age these people up. And then, they don't have sex with Beverly at the end, which was disappointing.
Nothing real?
Why is that disappointing?
It's not. So at the end of the book, at the end of the kids part of the book, after facing it, they all have sex with Beverly one at a time.
Really?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
I don't remember that from the miniseries.
13-year-old kids all getting it on to protect the Losers Club, bind them with love or something. So that years later when they all came back together, they would be strong enough to bat. Yeah, it doesn't make sense. And obviously that's why it was cut. Because you couldn't show that.
Stephen King must have had a little too much to drink when you wrote that one.
Yeah, I don't know what they were thinking. It's a weird read. And to listen if you have it on Audible like I do.
There you go.
But it's a gigantic book. It's 1,200 pages. So as an audiobook, I think it's 47 hours or 45 hours.
Holy shit.
Yeah. It takes a while to get through that. I think I've listened to it 3 times. And I can start it in May and finish it by September. Because I don't listen to it in big chunks or whatever. But yeah, it takes, basically half the year to listen to. So
Jeez.
It's a huge book. There were a couple things that book readers might have picked up on, but I liked all of the nods to the grander mystery about it and Pennywise and Derry. There's a Paul Bunyan statue, and the Paul Bunyan statue is actually something that chases Richie. It comes off its pedestal and it tries to kill him.
How's that CGI look like?
They didn't. There's just the statue. We don't actually see what Richie is afraid of in the movie.
Really?
Yeah, which is kind of a bummer. I brought that up in the stuff I didn't like.
Oh, yeah.
Bill is holding a turtle made out of Legos, and the turtle is a symbol in a lot of Stephen King books. The turtle's name is Maturin. Pennywise is actually from outer space. They all get high. A couple characters get high in the book, and they hallucinate where it came from, and it came from outer space, and it landed in Derry, and it's been here ever since. But its arch nemesis is Maturin the turtle, and the universe was on the back on its shell. And anyways.
No, it's not far flung from what some religions actually believe, or especially the older ones.
Yeah. So he drops the turtle and it breaks when Georgie's ghost comes and scares him, when Pennywise comes to his house and scares him after he's died. And it was oh, okay, so Maturin's not going to protect them because he's broken. That's what I picked up on. But anyways, I wish the bullies had been developed more, and I wish they had spent more time in the Barrens. We're only down in the Barrens 2 or 3 scenes for the rock fight, when they go into the tunnels, and when Ben escapes them from carving him up with a knife. There's a group of bullies in the movie. Didn't really talk about them much because I didn't think they were handled that well. Obviously, for time and stuff, they couldn't do much with them, but Mike Hanlon, the black kid, he's getting beat up by the bullies down to the Barrens. And he looks over and he sees Pennywise in the bushes. And Pennywise he's like chewing on an arm. And then Pennywise takes it out of his mouth and he and it's just like the most. I was like, oh my god, that is amazing. I want more of that.
While he's getting the crap kicked out of him.
Yeah. So yeah, Pennywise makes his presence known by like the floating red balloon. Mm-hmm. If one of those shows up, someone's not seeing something that could help you. Like at least in this adaptation, Ben's getting like stabbed in the stomach on a bridge and a car drives by with grown-ups in it, but then a red balloon pops up in the back seat because they don't stop to like help him or anything. And then like in the library, Ben's reading about the Kitchener Ironworks explosion, which was something that happened in like the 1930s or 20s, where there was an Easter egg hunt at this place called the Kitchener Ironworks, and there was an explosion caused by Pennywise, and like 108 people killed, most of them kids. And as he's reading about it, a red balloon like floats behind him in the scene, and like he follows it, and then he follows these eggs down into like the basement of the library.
Oh, jeez.
And a burnt up headless kid like starts chasing him. Yeah, so they did some cool stuff, but it wasn't the gory type of scary that I thought we were gonna get with that opening scene. So
that's a bummer.
Well, that's about it for it. I'm battling allergies, so my throat is going, and I can't drink any more water because I'm out of water. What do you guys think about it? Let us know. Let us know over at facebook.com/We Sound Like Nerds. Twitter at WSLN Podcast. Using the hashtag We Sound Like Nerd or We Sound Like Nerds Podcast. For We Sound Like Nerds, I am John.
I'm Jordan.
And this is Kyle.
And we'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.